Hey, y'all are this afternoon. It's your buddy George Jones over here at the Albergan Gun Range with my next installment on, what's that piece of firewood doing there? With my next installment on, hey, I got this old used gun. The old used gun I got today is this guy. This is the Norinco Chinese TT33 copy in 9mm, in 9mm parabellum. They imported a great number of these back in the 1980s and early 1990s. This is basically a Russian TT33 manufactured by Norinco in China, and it has a few exceptions. One, of course, is that it's been converted to 9mm, and it's been factory converted to 9mm. One of the exceptions is that it has a manual safety over here. That had to be installed in order to get it to make it an allowable import into the United States at the time. That was one of the things that some agency of federal government decided, that if you had a firearm imported into the United States, it had to have a manual exterior safety on it. So they put this on there. The manual exterior safety on this gun does work, but is not necessary. A TT33 automatic pistol has the safety mechanism that's designed in the gun originally, is this little quarter cock notch right there. That locks the gun up to where it won't work, locks the gun up to where it won't fire, and is essentially the safety inherent to a TT33, a Tokarev. Later they found that the grips, they found that the safety just fell off of it. Just fell off. I had one back in the day, and I shot it about 25 times, and the safety just fell off of it, and I couldn't figure out how to put it back on there. So I think one of the things they did was, because the grips were not very ergonomic, and the TT33 chambered in 7.62 by 25 is a real hard kicker, they put these better grips on there, and it also helps keep that safety mechanism from falling off. That's the real design right there, buddy. Anyway, these were a pretty good gun back in the day. We used to go, back in the late 1980s, we used to go to Center Fire Systems and buy one of those guns for $49 and buy a case of 9mm for $49. And at the end of the weekend, not have the gun or the ammo. You know, we'd take the gun and get our money back for it at the gun store, you know, because we bought it wholesale, and go back the next weekend and do it again until the source of them dried up. Pretty common thing. I had a Mac 10 in those days, you know, and I'd go to Center Fire Systems every Friday afternoon and buy 2 cases of 9mm anyway, and not have any of them at the end of the day. So basically what they did with this design was they rebarreled it to 9mm parabellum. They took the magazine and put a shim in the back of it to make the magazine accommodate a shorter cartridge, because it's definitely a 7.62 by 25 magazine. Just made the magazine accommodate a shorter cartridge, and then that's it. Put a little bit nicer grip on it, and away they went. So let's shoot this guy. It holds 8. Let's shoot this guy 8 rounds and see what kind of accuracy it's got on a B-27 silhouette target. That's that guy right there at 15 yards, which is 15 yards from this side of the bench to that target, and see what kind of accuracy this gun has got. All right, let's go look at the accuracy. Yarp! I'm gonna fall down. The chair leg goes into the mud, and it's like, you know, I slowly goes down periscope as I'm sitting there. Accuracy. Accuracy. That's accuracy right there, buddy. Well, I got one at 12 o'clock in the 9. I got one at 7 o'clock in the 9. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10s, 3 X's. That's pretty good accuracy right there. That's all right. That gun shoots really good, or I'm having a good day, or maybe both of them in combination. That's accuracy right there. That gun shoots pretty good. I think they quit importing these as part of the 1994 fake gun ban, and you know, they had that fake gun ban, which was 94 to 2004. Bill Clinton's nonsense, just something that they come up with to feed the beast. They, you know, they're stupid. Things like that are just stupid. All right, there's 8 in the magazine. Let's see how this works. Put one in the chamber. Get one in battery. That gun loading right there. You know, they do stuff like that, and you know, it's like that lady come along and said something about an emergency order for a gun ban. Well, by the time they get around to that in about 6 years, that is if we don't elect Pence president, the Supreme Court will be 6-3 pro-gun. There's not going to be any new gun control legislation past the Supreme Court for at least 40 years. So everybody can just quit panicking. Let's I don't normally talk about political issues on here, but just sometimes you just have to say something. All right, let's give it a try here on 25-yard steel. We'll start with the steel chest center. I don't think I hit it. Ooh. This may be the limit for this gun. I can't believe 10 yards makes that big of a difference. Maybe it's me. There we go. Let's try one of these little ones. There we go. Poor little 9mm won't even move that inch thick one. And there was a stovely pipe right there. That one's stovely piped. That's no good. All right, fall out there. Oh, you thought you were going to get away. Put you back in there. There we go. Yeah. Not a bad gun if you find somebody who can shoot it. Pleasant. The older ones that don't have the ergonomic grips on them, the 9mm ones and the 7.62 by 25 ones are pretty serious kickers. But they put these ergonomic grips on there, and it makes that gun a little bit more pleasing. I mean, it comes right down to it. It's an old Chicom junk pistol, but it does work. Now we got the range. I haven't shot one of these guys in many years, and it's one of the guns out of the Sailor collection, and you know, the idea, I think, was to take this gun and refurbish it back to the appearance of an original TT33 for display. And of course, this gun will eventually probably be converted to blank fire. I think that was Nicholas's idea when he bought it, was to convert it to blank fire for reenacting use, and then have it on display at the little museum when it wasn't being used in reenacting. But before I go to putting a Hollywood blank adapter in it, I thought we'd bring it over here and show it. Once I got used to this one here, it shoots pretty good. How many rounds we got left? Let's talk about the value of this old gun. These haven't been imported in a long time. You don't normally see them. When you see them, you don't normally see them in this condition. You normally see them in pretty rough shape. You know, they look like they've been at the police gun auction. They look like they've been dragged down a gravel road. This one has almost 100% finish on it. The grips aren't busted. The accessory safety works. I estimate the value of this gun being somewhere between, you know, I remember when these guns were selling, they were $39 wholesale. You know, in today's market, this gun should bring, I don't know, I would estimate it between $250 and $300. Slightly more. Some of them came with a holster, some of them didn't. Some of them came with 2 magazines, some of them didn't. You know, these magazines are very hard to find, especially the converted ones. The converted magazines are almost impossible to find, converted from 7.62 to 9mm. This magazine is probably worth $50, $60 by itself. So if you see one of these guys that's got the original holster and extra magazine that they imported some of them with, you know, that gun's upwards of $350, $375, $400. So they have some value, even though they're a Chicom convert pistol. They have some value, and they are a serviceable firearm, as you can see. Well, that's about the size of it. Like to take, share, commentate, and subscribe. Drop $1 in the old Patreon bucket on the way out the door if you want to. And I'll keep making content, and we'll have some fun. All right, then. We'll see y'all.